What's going on, guys? This is Zoe with No Days Off DFS here to bring you that 11-game NBA slate breakdown for today's slate. If you guys are new here, which 70% of you guys have not subscribed yet, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any of the content I'm putting out over here on the channel, and drop a like on this video, or if any of my other videos have helped you guys win some money through either the NBA, WNBA, or any of the other seasons. Greatly appreciate it. It really does help the channel. It lets me know that you guys are enjoying the content that I'm putting out for you guys. So thank you guys for the support. And yeah. So recapping real quick for yesterday and honestly the weekend for DFS, and just to give you guys a little note, my player pool I will not have a player pool on Saturdays and Sundays simply because I got to devote my time to family on the weekends, of course. So definitely back and forth with my wife, but she said Monday through Friday, totally fine, but weekends kind of need you more present. So hey, you got a happy wife, happy life. So definitely will be unfortunate. I will still have chorus. I will still have props and stuff, but I won't be able to do the time that I do for the player pool with the notes and everything that I put into. A little bit too much time consuming right there in regards to that. And of course, when all the kids are home on the weekend, it does get a bit hectic around this household. So I'm sorry for that, but I will still have chorus. Still will have the breakdowns in the videos. I still am able to get that stuff out to you guys. So definitely stay tuned for that. If you guys are looking for my player pool, my chorus, prop plays, list, all that stuff that I'm putting out, check the link down in the description below for the Patreon. It's only $10, and I promise you, you make that back within your first week. You're not only getting my information and my stuff that I'm putting out, but you're also getting some of the other content creators that we have over here with the No Days Off group that are putting out hockey plays, NFL plays, and things like that of that nature as well. So definitely check that out if you guys are interested in that. And with that being said, let's go ahead. Let's do a recap of yesterday's slate. So yesterday's slate was not a bad slate. Could have definitely been much worse. Definitely hit on a couple of the plays in regards to LeBron James. Really great game. Went out there, dropped 50 plus. If you took Anthony Davis over LeBron, I mean, either way, you were pretty good. AD dropped 60. LeBron dropped 50. So still great fantasy point production from either one of those bigs from the Lakers. Keegan Murray went off 40 fantasy points. Called that on the stream. Was really pretty hype about him. Joel Embiid, of course, game time decision leading up to lock. After I got off the stream and I did some more digging, I even tweeted on Twitter that he's going to play. I realized it was their season opener. Didn't realize that at first when I was recording, and it was a season opener for Philly at home. So of course he's going to play. He's going to play in front of his home crowd. And of course, what does he do? Goes out there and drops a 83 bomb on the head of Portland, which Portland might be the team that we go ahead and we attack all season with bigs specifically, because they really DeAndre Ayton, not a great defender. Jeremy Grant, he's just there to collect his bag and just do what he does. Not really too much care going on, and we do know in seasons past, we have attacked these rebuilding teams, and we're starting to see that with some of the teams that we can actually go ahead and start to attack and poke the holes into of their defense. And definitely Portland on a back-to-back today is definitely one of those teams that we can definitely attack from that standpoint, especially with opposing bigs and dominant centers like Embiid right there. So outside of that, I myself didn't do too hot because of course I played Damian Lillard over Giannis, and Dame goes out there and has one of his worst shooting nights ever. And I tell you not, you can go back and check the info. He had not scored under 50 going up against the Hawks since 2018 forward. He's killed the Hawks. 1 of 10 in like the first half. And then on top of that, I think he had like 6 or 7 turnovers in the first half alone. It was horrible, putrid, and just from there, when I saw Dame just effing up, I was just like, you know what, my night's over, because Dame was one of my studs that I paid up for. I went ahead and moved my lineup around just to hopefully salvage it. I got Embiid. I made 2 quick punt plays. Couldn't get to some of the punts I wanted in the first game because, of course, it already was locked, and all around wasn't able to cash on the slate. But definitely, hopefully, you guys, if you guys got some of the info, or even the core did really well that I posted on the Patreon, then hopefully you guys were able to cash out. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this breakdown for today. Big slate, a lot of games, and I've already rambled on for 4 minutes of the start of this. All right, so starting out, looking at some injury report. We got a couple of teams, couple things that we got to pay attention to. Like I said, some of these teams, they did play yesterday, so we have some teams on it back-to-back. Starting out, we got the Bulls taking on the Indy. Looking at them, only thing, Zach LaVine, game time decision, but he should be playing. Nothing new right there. Boston, nothing for them. Washington, they say Daniel Gafford is a game time decision that Washington might take a safe, but he left in the first half of the last game, came back and finished the game with whatever injury he had. So I would expect him to play. Not like it really is going to matter, because Washington going up against Boston, one of the better defensive teams out there. Not going to be a great game for Washington. Brooklyn Nets taking on The Hornets for Brooklyn, Cam Johnson and Nick Claxton are both going to be out, so we should still see Cam Thomas in the starting lineup, along with Ben Simmons possibly starting at that center position. I know he's going to be going up against Mark Williams. Yeah, he's a big body, but Ben Simmons, he held his own in that last matchup, and honestly, I kind of think he fits better playing at that center position. Really great rebound assist numbers right there, and was actually scoring quite well. Put up a triple-double in that last game, so hopefully we do get that news in regards to the starting lineup again for them, because they could slide RJ Sharp into the starting line, but I would expect Ben Simmons right now to start at the center position. For the Hornets, Book Knight, Bridges, all the same guys are out for them, same starters, so on and so forth. Not really worried about right there. For Minnesota, Jalen McDaniels, he's a game time decision. He might play today, might not. Definitely want to pay attention to that, because if he does, then that means that we will see Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He will go back to the bench, and but if he's out, Nickeil, he should go ahead and still start, and I would still expect more minutes for Kyle Anderson than Nickeil Alexander-Walker either way. For the Hawks, they are on the second leg of a back-to-back. Wesley Matthews, he's out. Nothing new right there. For Portland, Anthony Simon's still out there on the second night of back-to-back as well. Future starting lineup, that's same old for them. Toronto, OG is game time decision. He might actually play today. Precious, he is expected and doubtful to play today. So that means that they're going to have a shorter rotation in regards to their bigs, especially for the backup center position. We do know that Precious, he was coming in, especially when Poto would get himself into foul trouble. And we just talked about it, that Portland might be the team that we would target, especially at the center position. I do think this is going to be a decent matchup for Poto, but probably could be a better matchup for Siakam, because we do know Siakam can slide down and play some of that center position as well if they decide to actually go there, because be real, Toronto, they have a really big lineup either way. Golden State, second leg of back-to-back, and from the news that I've seen, that all the vets, they are going to play again tonight in the back-to-back. Doesn't matter, they will play tonight. New Orleans Pelicans and Draymond Green, he's expected to play, but definitely play it by ear in regards to that, because not like it really matters for Draymond. I don't really care, because it's not like I'm clicking his name or anything, but of course, him being back, that affects the usage of everyone else if you're even targeting anything from this side of this game. For New Orleans Pelicans, same old, same guys are out for them. Nothing new right there. Miami, Kevin Love, he's expected to be back. All these other guys, they're expected to be out. Other than that, Jimmy, he's back. Kyle Lowry, Hero, Bam, boom, same old starters. For Milwaukee, Chris Middleton sat out on the first leg of back-to-back. He should be back tonight. Still going to be on that minutes cap. Wouldn't expect him to play more than 25, 28-ish minutes in tonight's game, but Middleton, he will be back for them. Hopefully, Dame Lillard and Giannis can come out and play much better than what they did last night. For Detroit, James Wiseman is a game time decision. I would expect James Wiseman to actually play tonight, possibly splitting some of that time with Marvin Bagley as the backup big for Jalen Duren. If Jalen Duren actually gets himself in the foul trouble or something like that. But either way, this is a smash spot. That is why Jalen Duren is the cover photo for today. This is a smash spot. If you watch what the Joker did yesterday to my Thunder, completely dismantled and manhandled them to the T from the tip until that man left in the third quarter. Was ridiculous. For OKC, nothing new really for us. Jalen Williams, Kendrick Williams, both of those guys are still going to be out for us. But if Kenny Hustle actually somehow makes it back, that'll be really interesting, because he will affect maybe some of the minutes for like Chad, Jalen Williams, something like that. But we have a very deep team, so nothing really too interesting right there. For Dallas, same old, nothing new for them. On the Memphis side, they are still without Jaws, Aldama, Clark, all those guys. So same starters for them. Utah, nothing new. Abaji, if you care about that, but he's playing off the bench, not really too worried about that. Denver side, if they rest somebody, I will definitely keep an eye on this. But from my understanding, they should still play all their stars and everything. Not like they had to play the full game yesterday, so all should be good on that front. Orlando, nothing new right there. For Los Angeles Lakers, it was always a chance in regards to rest, but I know that the NBA is supposed to be cracking down in regards to rest this season, so definitely we'll keep an eye out in regards to whether or not if LeBron is going to rest on the second level back-to-back, considering that he did just play last night. All right. Getting into the breakdown over here on DraftKings. If you guys don't have a DraftKings account and you want one, check the link down in the description below so you guys can get that deposit match bonus and join me over here on the King. Starting out with Washington taking on Boston. Starting on the Washington side, like I said in the start of this, I really do feel like this is going to be one of the tougher matchups for them. We already know that Washington, they kind of don't, they don't play any defense of the sort. It is the Poole and Kuzma show. Between that, again, I don't expect a great offensive game from them going up against the defensive front of what Boston has to bring. But if you're wanting to mess with anything from this first game right here, this is honestly a full fade for me for Washington. If anything, I would take Tyus Jones. The best price per dollar play would be Tyus Jones at 6,300 price tag. We know he can do everything in regards to assists, rebounds, play some defense, and also score as well. Poole relies too much on scoring. Kuzma, same thing. I know he can get a couple of those peripheral stats. He actually rebounded in the last game, but not a matchup that I like him him going up against Jason Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis. And then everyone else down here, if Gafford's going to be out, maybe I'll have some interest in the backup for Mike Muscala. He should slide in as the possible center spot, and we know he can stretch the floor at that 3K price tag. That would be interesting. Maybe a punt play I can go to, but outside of that, not really too interested in Washington at all. Now over here on the Boston side, I do have a lot of interest in them because we know Washington, they are playing at such a fast pace. Barely any defense is being played for them, and I have a lot of interest in regards to pretty much their whole starting five, 1 through 5. Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and Jason Tatum. If I'm ranking them, of course, we know Tatum, he's at the top of it for them. But at that 10.5 price tag, I think there's some better spots we can go to if we're going to spend up that high in regards to it. I do like the price for Porzingis. I like the price for both guards in Derek White and Drew Holiday, 6'8" and 5'9". Derek White did just pop off for a 50, what was it? Close to 50, 49.5 fantasy point game. Stuff in the stat sheets, 28 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal. We know he can bring it on the defensive side, and I wouldn't be surprised if him or Holiday has a multi-steal type game and blocks in this, and also just put up a decent fantasy point number. So between these two, I am very interested in White and Holiday as one of the guards that I possibly would play. Because if you look at it, what guards going up against Washington so far have actually had some pretty decent games. Because in that first game, we see Tyrese Halliburton. He went out there, he dropped, 45, 47 fantasy points, and then Marcus Smart, starting point guard, he dropped about 30 fantasy points out there. So really decent spot for either one of these guards to go out here and actually have a very good game at their price points that they're at. GPP players also will be Jaylen Brown. He can pop off at any moment notice out there. For the Bulls taking on the Pacers, this game right here, the Bulls, I like the prices. Don't mind going to any of the big three out here. Zach LaVine, of course, expected to play. Popped off for 51 points in that last game. 59.5 fantasy points. Didn't do too much outside of scoring and a couple of rebounds. Don't mind going back to him here, as this should be another track meet type game. Up and down, back and forth. Definitely could possibly take a chance on Vooch. We know that he can get going if they actually go to him down low. But it's Chicago. They're kind of just there. Kobe White priced up to 5-1. Let me down in that last game. Really expecting more from him. Went out there, only gave us 3.5 fantasy points. So this could definitely be a bounce back spot for Kobe White, if anything at all. Outside of that, if you land on any of the Chicago Bulls, any of the big three are very much in play, but I'm not forcing any of them into my lines. They're not a must at all. The best one, of course, is going to be, to me, Zach LaVine. We did see opposing, shooting guard, small forward-ish, going up against them, have dropped 40 and 30 fantasy points, and they are roughly giving up over 35 fantasy points to the opposing starting shooting guards. All right, there. If you guys don't believe me, check the numbers. You guys can also do that as well. All right, going over to Indy on their side. Tyrese Halliburton, of course, in play, 9,400. Don't mind that. Has double-double upside, and honestly can get a triple-double if he's actually able to snag some rebounds. I definitely do like his assist prop today. It was sitting at 10 last time I checked. I will take the over on that up to about, I'll say 11. But he has gone over that in both of his games that he has played so far this season, with 11 and 13 assists, also snagging some boards as well, and scoring at least 20 points in both those games. So another one you could possibly look at, if they put his fantasy score at around the 40 range, I would take it maybe up to like a 45, if anything, but definitely a decent spot for Tyrese Halliburton right here going up against the Chicago Bulls. Outside of that, Miles Turner, he's just there, really spending time with Smith as well. Neesmith went out there last game. I think it was Neesmith that actually popped off and had that crazy game, 39.75 fantasy points. I'll see if you can repeat that again. Outside of that, not really mess with anyone else over here for Indy. Again, it's a big slate. We don't have to force any plays over here. Brooklyn Nets taking on the Charlotte Hornets. This will probably be a team that I might stack up on, especially because they're missing 2 of their starters in Claxton and Johnson, and we know that the usage is going to be pretty much kind of condensed. We know it's the guards, the rotation for them. Cam Thomas logging mega minutes and very efficient in his time that he's been out there. 12 of 19 in the last game. Only shot 1 of 4 from 3. So imagine if he actually knocked down some more threes. But 30 points in both of his last 2 games. 46 and 45 fantasy points at 6K. I don't mind going to him, especially because he is going up against the Charlotte Hornets, and he's going to get that LaMelo Ball or Terry Rozier defense. I'm pretty sure he's going to draw LaMelo Ball. Terry should be more on the Mikal Bridges or Spencer Dinwiddie matchup right there. So I definitely can see Cam Thomas going out here and having another big game in what should be another back and forth fast-paced game on the slate. Really do like Cam Thomas and Ben Simmons, just the upside for both of these two players right here. If Ben is going to start at the center position, that's just a boost for him. Played 30 plus minutes in that last game, dropped 43 fantasy points, and like I said, damn near a triple-double out there. 10 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. Love it for him. If Ben is going to definitely start at the center position, Ben Simmons rebounds and assists, again, they keep that thing under 11, 12 rebounds assists right there. I will go ahead and take the over, especially because he's going to be playing the center spot. He will be able to get the rebounds, and we already know he will play make and get those assists as well. So really do like both of those guys. Mikal Bridges, don't mind that as a GPP possible play. Definitely will have to actually take into consideration Royce O'Neal and Dorian Finney-Smith, because they went small is what they did. They did not really play Dajay Sharp. He played 3 minutes in that last game. So kind of a non-factor in regards to rotating him in here as a big. Will be interesting to see if they do that again going up against Mark Williams and Nick Richardson of the Charlotte Hornets. Those are actually two pretty decent and big centers that can be physical. So I will be interested to see the game plan for them, but I think the safest will be Ben Simmons and Cam Thomas. On the other side, LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, PJ Washington, and big Mike Williams. Mike Williams came back down to earth in that last game. I will still attack centers going up against the Charlotte Hornets. As we do know, not Charlotte Hornets, going up against the Brooklyn Nets. That has been something that we have continuously done for years, and I will not stop doing that. Definitely a bounce back spot for him. Opposing centers, Lively, he got the start last game, really did not do much or do anything going up in that matchup. And Evan Mobley didn't do too much either going up against it. But Mike, I definitely feel like this is a spot he can rack up his blocks like he's done, especially when you have Ben Simmons, who is going to take nothing but 14 footers, if anything, or anything around the rim. So definitely some block upside for Mike Williams here. Is it Mike or Mark? I really do be messing up this kid's name. Mark Williams. For Mark Williams here in this position to spot. Don't mind that. But outside of that, the main play that I will want to get from this game, especially if I do stack it with Cam and Ben Simmons, will be LaMelo Ball. Melo has not shot well. 4 of 17, 4 of 15 in both his games. Not really knocking down his 3-ball yet, but still putting over 40 fantasy points in both of his games. That is pretty huge right there when you consider the time that he's on the court, the time that the ball is in his hands, and just the numbers that he's actually been able to put up with nothing. Pretty much nothing. So don't mind going to LaMelo Ball here. 9,700 price tag. If I'm going to pay up for a guard, definitely will be for LaMelo Ball. Really great spot. And then if you want to come down to, I always talked about it, but Terry Rozier, we know that he can kind of do it all in regards to what he can put out. I don't mind coming down for the savings for the 7,200 for Terry Rozier. GPP play to me will be Gordon Hayward. He has played pretty good in his first 2 games. It's never pretty for me to click his name. I despise Gordon Hayward. So I will let my bias take the helm on that one. But you can definitely go and play Gordon Hayward if you're looking for something like that at the small forward position. Not bad. Portland taking on Toronto. I don't want anyone from Portland, if I'm being very honest. If I take anything, it would be Michael Brogdon at that 5,600 price tag. Last night, he went out there, he played 26 minutes, and again, dropped 30 plus fantasy points out there for us. I don't mind him as a value guard if you're considering it. Hopefully he doesn't rest or we get some crazy news in regards to that. Outside of that, I really do feel like the matchup for them should be a tougher one. Again, the defense that should be able to be played from Toronto. They are big, very good guards, as well as just the length that they have. Outside of that, I would take a chance on Shaedon Sharp, but just with the foul trouble that everyone else gets themselves into. Ayton not really playing too great. Jeremy Grant just looks it's really no interest. Scoop, he just can't keep his hands to himself. I'm not really too interested in anyone else over here for Portland. On the Toronto side, though, Scotty Barnes, 7-7. Still not up to the AK price tag. I will go ahead and take him. Once again, has dropped over 40 fantasy points in every single game. And again, this is another spot that he can go out here and he can facilitate and he can do what he's done already through these several games as well. Looking at it, looks like Portland is giving up over 30 fantasy points, over 35 fantasy points actually to the small forward position. They gave up 38.75 fantasy points to Tobias Harris yesterday, and Franz Wagner in their first game dropped 37.75 fantasy points against them as well. So definitely a really good spot for us to go and get Scotty Barnes right here. The upside, I really do just feel like it's going to be there for him. I definitely do not mind that. Oh, and then going up against Los Angeles Clippers, I know Kawhi or PG, either one of those dropped over 40 fantasy points going up them. So Scotty Barnes, another 40 burger, definitely in the horizon for him. Do like his price tag at the 7-7. Definitely be one of the plays that more likely will be a core play for me right here. Now, I did mention Precious. He is doubtful. OG might play, might not. With that, I do have some interest in Siakam. Possibly could be a Siakam game, but that 9-3 price tag, man, that's just too much for a player that's barely doing anything out there to pay this off. It really hasn't had the big games like what he was having last year, so maybe Siakam more of a GPP play. With Precious being out, we'll have to have some interest in Poto at the 5,600 price tag. That'll be interesting, but might just go ahead and just play Mark Williams for the price for what it is right there. Or when we get to the later games, pay up for my boy Jalen Duren as well. Going over to Minnesota, taking on the Atlanta Hawks. Another interesting game, another interesting spot. We got Rudy Gobert has been playing very, very well through these first couple games. 7,000 price tag, really hasn't fluctuated or moved anywhere. 35 and 45 fantasy points in these first two games. Going up against the Atlanta Hawks, I don't hate it. I don't mind it. Now, I will say I do have a lot of interest in Karl Anthony Towns, as I think this is the spot where we can get that cat game, that big game. If you just seen what Giannis just did last night going up against if you just seen what Giannis did last night going up against the Hawks, still went out there, dropped a 50 burger on them in his limited minutes in a blowout. I do not expect them to blow out many teams, but if the Hawks are going to come to the A game and can keep it close, who's honestly going to match up with Karl Anthony Towns? You technically have two centers out there playing. I understand that Jalen Johnson, he's going to start probably again. He's going to play. You got Sadiq Bey off the bench. DeAndre Hunter's out there. But the defense, I don't think is going to be able to match up with a big body such as Towns, who can also stretch the floor. Giannis dropped a 50 burger. Julius Randle dropped 47 fantasy points going up against them. And then PJ Washington in the first game dropped 34 fantasy points. And he had a missable shooting night as well. Definitely a spot where I feel like we can go to the big cat out here at the 8,400 price tag. Now, if you want to chase Naz Reid and what he did in that first game, granted, the minutes, they're there, 24, 28 minutes. I like that for him. The fact that they're giving him over 20 plus minutes, really great fantasy point per minute producer. I don't mind if you land down here somehow for that 5K range. I don't mind it, but I don't think he's a must. I do really like Karl Anthony Towns. Then, of course, you can also look to Anthony Edwards. 9-2, kind of a little bit much. I would rather just come down and play Towns, who has pretty much kind of the same upside, if you will, especially if he can get it going and can rebound and also just knock down the shots and play some defense. Really great spot for Cat tonight. Going over here to the Atlanta Hawks on their side. Trae Young, always in play, 9K, don't mind it, don't hate it at all. I went out there, dropped 43 fantasy points in that game, was pretty good. Shot 5 of 14, 3 of 8, got to the free throw line, definitely got involved with getting the assist. Not a bad spot, can definitely go ahead and do it again. Clint Capella, no interest, honestly, for me in regards to the matchup going up against the Twin Towers. Johnson, he did very well, 26 minutes, got himself in a little bit of foul trouble, but still dropped 30.25 fantasy points, can stretch the floor, play some very decent defense as well. As long as he doesn't foul too much, I do feel like this is kind of like a back-to-back matchups of some pretty big guys that he's going to have to guard. I don't hate it, but I don't think that he's a must. Outside of everyone else right here, you could take a chance on Sadiq Bey if he's going to come off the bench. He's going to get backup run, going up against some backups. Looked very well in that role, actually coming off the bench, much better than starting. 31 minutes, still dropped 28.75 fantasy points. So don't hate it, don't mind it, especially at the 4,600 price tag. I might actually play a little bit more minutes here, considering they are in a back-to-back. That could always be a possibility. Going over here to Dallas, taking on Memphis. When you look at it on paper, it's just Luka and Kyrie when you just come down to it. And honestly, it's just Luka. Luka has finally been priced up to where he should have been priced to start the season at the 12K price range after dropping back-to-back 70 burgers on everybody's heads. The matchup going up against the Memphis Grizzlies, it's not going to be a bad one. I don't think he's going to go out here and drop another 70 bomb, but watch, he's going to come out here and do it anyway. Memphis has done pretty decent guarding opposing point guards. They held Tyus Jones to 33 fantasy points. Jamal Murray to 33 fantasy points as well. So will be interesting to see what Luka comes out here. Kyrie, unless Luka's out, I really don't have any interest, especially at that 9.5. That's way too much for Kyrie, considering he is playing second fiddle to Luka. 35 fantasy points in both games. I'm not going to pay that for a player that's only giving me 35. There's no reason to, especially not 9.5. You can go to other plays like LaMelo Ball, Trae Young, some of the guards from Boston, things like that. Tyrese Halliburton, I'd rather play that versus playing Kyrie at that price. That's way too much. Interesting to note, Derek Lively, he started the last game, but only played 17 minutes, and I don't understand why he only played 17 minutes. So someone that watched that game can actually inform me in regards to why the hell did he only play 17 minutes? Please let me know, because there was no foul trouble. I don't feel like he looked bad out there. I had his rebounds in that game too, which really kind of pissed me off that he only played 17 minutes. Ridiculous in regards to it, but definitely interesting. If you take anything, Luka, if you could pay up for him. Over here on the other side, going to Memphis. This is definitely a spot that Memphis should be able to have what I would consider a bounce back game for them, especially with the two main guys that we have in regards to Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. Both of these guys are in a plus matchup when you look at it on paper. Like we just said, Desmond Bane playing the shooting guard position, that two role. Cam Thomas went out here, he dropped 46 fantasy points. Devin Vassell, when he went up going up against him, dropped 37 fantasy points. So definitely a spot that we could possibly go ahead and take some advantage of Dallas, their defense, their lacks, especially you're getting Kyrie and Luka defense at the 1 and 2. I'll take Desmond Bane. Really great spot for him. 8,600. We know he's going to chuck. Bounce back going up against Washington. 10 of 20. Dropped 39.5 fantasy points. Possibly could be another 40-ish burger in the horizon for him here in the spot. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. Really do have a lot of interest in him here at the spot. Another player we've been waiting for the crazy go off game for him. Haven't had that just yet. But Dallas, when you look at it, they are giving up over 35 fantasy points to the power forward position. So a spot we could possibly get Jaren Jackson Jr. at low ownership, because I don't feel like he's being talked about yet when I was looking at some stuff across the industry. So definitely a spot. Don't mind, considering that he's 8,200, 8,600. Either one of these guys are going to be a pretty decent play in this game and in this matchup. Outside of that, for Memphis, if you want to take a chance on Zaire Williams, that he'll go out here and do again what he did, still priced down at the 4,600 price tag. Dropped 33 fantasy points in that last start. 6 of 14, stroking it from 3. 4 of 12, took 12 3-pointers, so majority of his shots. But he is rebounding and he is doing some other things out there on the court, so I don't mind taking a stab at him if you don't want to play either one of the other Memphis bigs. Going over here to Detroit, taking on my OKC Thunder. Jalen Duren, I already told you guys, he's really in a really great spot, and he has played phenomenal. With the way that Shea, Giddey, Jalen Williams, Chet, all these guys like to drive and get to the rim. I really feel like the block upside for Jalen Duren here in this matchup is going to be huge. Huge. Like the upside, if you just watch Chet, he got 7 blocks the other day in the game. Definitely a spot that we could see Jalen Duren just pop off tremendously. Joker just dropped 53 fantasy points in limited minutes. 30 minutes. Didn't even play the whole game. Didn't play his normal rotation. Evan Mobley, he dropped 41 fantasy points. And Vooch, even though he tried, did all right. He dropped 36 fantasy points out there going up against us. So Jalen Duren, 7-1. I think the upside's there. Should drop at least over 40 plus fantasy points. The offensive putbacks that he can get, the rebounds, everything out there for him. I do like his rebound prop today. I want to say it was sitting at 12.5. I understand that's high, but the rebounds, he's gobbling them up. He's yanking them down. So I have no problem going to Jalen Duren right here in the spot. Outside of that, Cade Cunningham, Asir Thompson, both of these guys are really decent plays. I don't mind or hate either one of them. I do hope that Cade does not get himself into foul trouble, and that we can see a possible another 40 plus fantasy point game. 8,800, not a bad spot or a bad price for him at the shooting guard position. I wonder when they'll give him the dual eligibility, because he is technically the point guard. I understand that Killian Hayes is starting, but Killian is playing more of the 2-role. Cade is still initiating the offense, leading, and is the lead ball handler. I don't know why they have him just listed as shooting guard. He's not. Outside of that, Asir, he's honestly just stuffing the stat sheet. The kid rebounds, assists, blocks, steals. Like, he's not scoring crazy. He's not having to. But just the rebounds, it's crazy. If they still have his rebounds assist anywhere under 10, I'm taking the over on that. Like, I know they finally adjusted his rebounds to 7.5. I would still take the over on that, especially just given the matchup going up against the Thunder. If you watch, Kevin Porter Jr. yanked all those rebounds down yesterday. Covered his rebounds assists, again, something that we've been hitting all season. Well, I know the season just started, but another one I would take. I would definitely take Asir Thompson over his rebounds assist if you're looking at that, or his rebounds. Either one of those props are a decent place to go ahead and take on the slate, especially going up against my Thunder. On the other side, Shea, bounce back game. Definitely think he should come out here. And if you guys watched the preseason, the Thunder and the Pistons, they matched up twice through the preseason. Shea, he had his way really in the Montreal. Didn't do too much because it was the Lou Dort show, but definitely I would expect him to get back there to having a more efficient night. Shot 2 of 16, really not getting to the free throw line just yet to start the season. If you guys do know, he does live at the free throw line typically, but he's not getting the calls. Leads the lead in drives, and with the way that he's typically able to draw fouls and get other plays in the foul trouble, I don't mind going right back to Shea if I'm going to actually spend up for a guard at 10-6. I don't think you have to, especially with the value that we have in the Boston side that we can get to. I really do like some of those plays over there. But Shea, definitely 10-6. Do not hate it. Do not mind it. Really decent matchup. Not a must, but definitely don't mind going to Shea. Now, outside of that, I will have a little bit of interest in Chet. He's looked very good to start the season offensive-wise. Defense, definitely a lot to leaves to be desired, but I don't hate it. He should get bullied quite a bit out there going up against Jalen Duren. Definitely a GPP play, not too heavy on Chet right there at the 6.9 price tag, but a prop that I've been hammering for him has been his first half points. If they put that thing back up at 5.5 or even a 6, matter of fact, let's go and look. They have finally figured it out, and they have adjusted Chet to 7.5. This is more of a lean, of course. Granted, can he hit it? Yeah, he could, but I doubt he's going to go out here and drop 17 points again. He is in front of the home crowd but I did like this when they had it sitting at the 5. They had this thing at 5.5 or 4.5, something like that, and he was soaring over that. Ridiculously easy prop for him to hit. Once I finish adding more of the PRA, the fantasy points, and things like that, might look through and see if we can't find some things. But let's see if they actually have Jalen Duren up here, because if they got Jalen Duren, that might actually be a nice one that we can take. Jalen Duren, 14.5 points, rebounds, assists. I do like that, especially I feel like he's going to really crash the glass and be able to get some offensive foot back. So that's definitely one. And whenever they actually add fantasy score, I will definitely be taking a peek at a couple of those out there for the slate. But back to the slate. Jalen Williams, definitely a bounce back spot where we could see him actually be able to get more of an offensive load. Has not had the big Jalen Williams game, but he is doing a little bit of everything out there on the court. Not a bad play. Don't mind it. In the mid-tier range at 5'8". There's some other plays you can go to right there. Then Josh Giddey. I'm not really too interested in Josh Giddey. He's got to figure out his role in the offense. He has not figured that out just yet when it comes down to it. Outside of them, if you wanted to take a chance on somebody, of course, I'm always going to plug my boy Ousmane Dieng. Outside of Ousmane Dieng, Cassandra Wallace has played very well in his first couple of games as a rookie. Looked very polished, very good. Like he's been in the league almost 2 years is really I was looking. He's looking like this is his third year in the league. Not too phased, playing at least close to 20 minutes a game. Definitely worth a punt play if you land in that range and you need a punt, but not a must. Golden State Warriors taking on New Orleans Pelicans. For them, really not too interested in any of the Warriors. If anything, it'll be Dario Saric at that 4,300 price tag. Of course, they priced him up after he was at 3,500 yesterday. Ridiculous. But 23 fantasy points. At least if he's getting the minutes, he's a great fantasy point per minute producer. I don't mind going to Saric. Maybe we might see a little bit less minutes for Looney or Draymond Green or something like that, since they are on the second night of a back-to-back. So a player like Dario Saric would be someone I would have some interest in, or Kuminga. Both these players might be decent going up against the Warriors. On the other side, for the Warriors, we already know, for the Pelicans, we already know where the offense and everything is going to come from. It's going to be Zion, B.I., and C.J. McCollum. Out of these guys, I would have to say, looking at them on paper, none of them really technically stick out as a must play that you have to have. Definitely could take a stab at Zion. We really haven't seen the big Zion game from him just yet. Brandon Ingram, kind of a do-it-all, can do everything out there for them. Don't hate him, but none of them are definitely a must. If I do take a stab at someone, maybe it might be CJ McCollum, considering that he should have the ball in his hand. He's going to facilitate. When you look at it, the Warriors, the first couple of games that they played, they allowed 52 points to Devin Booker, 55 fantasy points to De'Aaron Fox. They actually held Fred VanVleet in check yesterday. So maybe I can see going to CJ if he goes out here, has a pretty decent game scoring wise and also just facilitating everything else that he does. I can look at CJ, but outside of that, not really going to mess too much over here for the Warriors side. Jones Valanciunas, he just gets himself into too much foul trouble. Not really interested, especially on this big slate. Miami taking on Milwaukee. It's the day of question of who the hell do you play for Miami. Really for them, Tyler Hero is going to be the main guy that you probably want to go to. 7,400 price tag, still a little bit too cheap in regards to the chucking that he's going to do. We just seen it last night. Atlanta, they were knocking down from 3. Tyler, he's going to go out here. He's going to shoot his threes. Definitely do not mind going to him. If I'm taking anything, Jimmy Butler, we know he gets up for these type of matchups. You can definitely go to Jimmy right here. Bam Adebayo, mid-tier play, not really a must that you got to go to. Everyone off the bench, not really too interested. They're not really going to get the burn and run in regards to what these main starters are going to do. Not really just feeling too much from anything over there. Really didn't see anything when I was digging. Now over here from Milwaukee, I'm pretty sure they got a bad taste in their mouth. They lost that game, I'm pretty sure by 40, if I'm not mistaken. Well, close to. It felt like it was damn near 40. Shit. But they lost the game by 17. It was a horrible game. They were at one point down by 28. It was ridiculous. But Giannis, definitely do not mind paying up for Giannis at 11K. He should come out. Definitely want to get it back going. I will take a stab at Damian Lillard. Again, granted, he is priced at 10K. More of a GPP play if you are actually going to get there. Just if you didn't believe me about what I said, boy shot 2 of 12. 6 turnovers. 6 points. 20.5 fantasy points. Definitely a bounce back spot for Dame to actually come out here and do something. Outside of that, with Chris Middleton being back, not really too much interest in anybody over there. Utah taking on Denver. This should be honestly just a knockoff for Denver. They should be able to go. Well, it is a second night of a back-to-back for them. They did have to travel back to Denver. So, we'll take that into consideration, but the usual suspects, Lauri Markkanen and John Collins, I'll actually go ahead and give him a little bit of consideration, but not really anything that is too crazy that we need to get. Now, if we get some news that someone's going to rest for Denver, granted it is early in the season, I don't see any reason that they need to rest anybody, but the Joker, pretty much the best fantasy point per minute producer out there in regards to if he's going to get his burn. He is the MVP for a reason. Don't mind if you want to go to Joker, but when we look at it, let's look at the calendar. How many days has been in between the games? 1, to, this is going to be their 27th. This is going to be their third game in 4 nights for Denver. So there might be some tired legs out there for them. Will be interesting to see if they actually do rest anybody. I really don't think they're going to need the full arsenal to go out here and beat Utah. But with that being said, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, don't mind either one of those guys if I'm taking a stab at anybody. Jamal Murray, decent matchup, decent spot for him as well. And the Joker, of course, it's the Joker. Really nothing else that needed to be said about them. Going over here to Orlando, taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. This should be a beautiful late night hammer spot, as long as Orlando can keep it close. I will continue to say it whenever they actually adjust prices, but France is better than Paolo. France would love to just continue to keep on hammering them. Leader in regards to the scoring and what he's going out there and doing. 600 price tag, not a bad spot. Do not mind the matchup or anything for him. Paolo should really be the one drawing the LeBron matchup. France might have Taurean Prince, but he should have the size on Taurean Prince anyway, and the aggression and everything he plays with. I do like that for him as well. Cole Anthony, don't mind him here playing off of the bench for them, but pretty much the leader when he comes in, scoring and facilitating everything else of the sort. Markelle Fultz really just hasn't had that big game yet, but not a bad spot for him as well. Now on the other side for the Lakers, long as no one rests, and if LeBron James rests, of course, just hammer Anthony Davis. The offense should flow through AD. This is a decent matchup for AD going up against Orlando as well. Will not hate it at all. And I mean, when I look at it, Şengün and DeAndre Ayton both dropped 30 plus fantasy points going up against them in barely limited 30 plus minutes. So Anthony Davis, in regards to what he actually goes out here and he can do, I definitely could see a 50 close to 60 burger for AD if he keeps the same aggression like what he had last night. Granted, he did play 42 minutes, so that is a little bit interesting. And LeBron played 39. So definitely interesting to see what they do with LeBron. I know that they said, and I quote, that they want to keep the minutes around 28 to 30 minutes. But we've seen now that LeBron is playing some pretty heavy minutes out here. So definitely interesting. I understand the game last night went to OT, so that's why I think maybe somebody might rest. We might get some rest. Now, if that's the case, if LeBron is out, D'Angelo Russell, he's going to get a boost. Austin Reeves will get a boost if they actually slide someone else into the starting lineup. Of course, they'll get a boost. Anthony Davis will be the main guy. Definitely will take a stab at a Gabe Vincent as well. Only played 32. Oh my God, 32 minutes last night and did nothing. Come on, Gabe. Worth a stab. Worth a stab, especially if he can get his 3-ball shot going. But definitely we'll have to look and dig a little bit more to see if we can't find something decent for a late night hammer. Not saying it's a must, but always worth a look into play. All right, so that's pretty much the breakdown. If I'm going out and I'm starting build, I'm going to try to start doing this for you guys more. So if you guys make it to the end of the video, you guys get to see the kind of initial first thoughts in regards to building your line. So first and foremost, from the guard position, I really do like the Boston guards on today's slate. Jrue Holiday and Derek White, both of these guys, I just feel like they're in a tremendous spot. Something tells me Jrue Holiday kind of would be more of the GPP play currently right now. Derek White, just the consistency that he's actually able to go out there and give me. They really both have a good matchup. They both do. I will take Derek White just for the savings. Now, I'm building cash-wise. This is cash. I already stated and I said, coming from Toronto, 10,000%, I am taking leaps and bounds. Where's my boy at? Small forward position. Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes, beautiful matchup going against Portland. He should be able to get some steals, some blocks, facilitate, and just go out there and score at will going up against this Portland. I see no reason why he's not going to be able to go out there and have a good game. I really do have a lot of interest in Karl-Anthony Towns. Just the price point and the matchup going up against who he's going up. And then last but not least, coming out here for Jalen Duren. Where are you at? Going up against Detroit. More than likely would be my center choice right now, if I was to start my build, would be kind of where I would go. Now, just trying to figure out who would be my mid-tier options, my guys that I feel like I have to get in at some value. Let's see how some news shakes out and just see in regards to where we can go with some of the other news as it drops. But hey, that's going to be a breakdown for me, guys. Start of a build of a lineup. If I was to actually go ahead and start cash game wise, this would be kind of where I would be leaning and going towards. Hopefully you guys found this video very interesting. If you did, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more content that I put out, and drop a like on this video as well. Thank you. Peace.